Hey guys, welcome back to another Drift Magic video. This one is a very special video because this actually was a video I put together for my dad. We ended up picking up a 2006 Corvette. So as you see in the title of the video, we were picking up my dad's dream car. It was something that he had been looking for a while, but could never really just pull the trigger on because, as you know, in today's car market, prices for everything have been completely crazy. Please be it. Please be it. My headlights work again. Finally. Might as well do the other side too. All right, let's start taking stuff off of here. Start with the battery, get these covers off. Definitely want to work on the front here, getting that all cleared, and the front accessories. So start off by taking off the battery. Alright, so got the intake off, the air boxes, so those are out, the upper shroud to cover the radiator, AC condenser, that's off. So next, now that I got that kind of cleared up, I'm going to move to the motor. Now, the engine lift that I have is the one that, sorry, I got a bunch of stuff on here, that goes on in the galley. So the plate that goes there is bolted into the center galley. So all this I'm going to take off, and then the intake does have to come off so I can expose that area where we're going to lift the motor from. So I'm going to try to unplug everything and get the fuel line off. And just to make it easy to pull out, I think I'm going to remove the headers as well, but we'll kind of take that on as we go. Alright, so next I'm removing the coil pack bracket, the main harness right here, as well as right here. I'm going to disconnect those, and we'll get this whole assembly out. Alright, so for the driver's side, you do have to, for the bolt that's all the way to the left here, you do have to back out your alternator bolt a little bit, so that way you have a clear shot to the bolt to remove this one. But if you look, that's off now. And now to the fuel rail and injectors. Now I have both coil pack assemblies off. I'm going to move on to the fuel rail. The only problem is I cannot find my tool, my fuel rail disconnect tool. It's like a little plastic or metal thing that goes in here to let you release the spring that's on the fuel line. So what I'm going to do, I'm thinking of just unplugging all the injectors here off of the intake, and then what I'll do is I'll remove the fuel rail and just kind of let it, flip over onto this, just so I can still get to the actual intake. I'll buy another tool, so then at that point I can remove this, but I still want to keep going, so I'm going to remove that next here. Fuel rail's out. The fuel rail and fuel rail assembly with all the injectors are here, kind of dirty. Yeah, if you look, like I said, I don't have the tool, so I just move this out of the way for now. That way I can go ahead and get this ready to take off. So make sure the wiring is out of the way. I do have, looks like, some vacuum lines here that we do need to remove once the throttle body comes up and out. So I gotta remove that. Where does that go to? Okay, so that goes to the firewall. And right here, looks like this side is pretty much ready to go. Already unplugged this sensor here, and we'll have to remove these here. I'm not sure if I have to remove that, but the stuff that's on top, there's these retaining clips on each of these quick disconnects. So I'm going to remove that. That way when this comes out, everything can come out with one. Let's disconnect the throttle body here. That way we can just keep the throttle body on for now. I mean, if anything, actually, I'm going to remove that because I'll probably want to clean it anyway, so get some more space. So we'll go ahead and take that off. There we go. Alright, so once all that is out of the way, there should be a hose here, which I'm going to have to replace because it's super brittle. You got that taken off, and also over here on the driver's side of the throttle body here. So you'll have about 10 bolts. I'm using millimeters, so I have 8. These are all 8mm. If you notice, I got this guy stuck. Obviously there's not a lot of clearance, so I'm hoping that I could just lift this out, because there is no way to adjust this to put the bolt back in, and it's literally jammed in there. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to slide this out without any issues. These, let's see if I can get these out of the way, and then let's see if it'll allow me to take this out. Alright, I was able to get my tool out. I took a screwdriver flathead and was able to push my adjustment here to put the basically screw in the bolt. So now I should be able to loosen that. I'm going to loosen it with just my wrench now so that I can remove it. Got that bolt loosened up. I should be able to lift it up now. Again, this is my first time working on an LS, but if you look, let's see if I can get it right here. There we go. So it's on that hose right there. So I'm going to remove that, and we should be able to remove this intake. All right, got that hose off, and intake is pretty nasty. I'm gonna have to like clean this up, open it up. Pretty oily in there when I felt it in the actual runners. If you look, it's full of oil. Normally when I lift it up, I would get a vacuum cleaner just to make sure nothing went into the intake, but this is obviously coming out for a reason. Has that bad knock. She is ready on top. The next step is to get the fluids drained, oil and also the coolant, and then try to remove the radiator as well, and maybe just the radiator so that I can get enough space to work on the front components, and then work on the exhaust. But yeah, that is some progress. Oh, and I gotta remove that fuel rail. Just removed all the spark plug wires off of the motor, and now I'm going to tackle the headers. Looks like one side's already has a broken bolt, so hopefully we can get all these out in one piece. I went ahead and already soaked these, so hopefully the PB Blaster did some work on these. Alright, let's get these off. Alright, so I started on the driver's side. I got all the bolts loose except for the one back there, so I'm gonna come back to it. This side is the area with less space, so I wanted to tackle that first. On passenger side, it's actually pretty free. naturally since there's no brake booster here. I did go ahead and remove the securing bolt for the dipstick. If you look, it's just a 15. The exhaust bolts are 13s. So yeah, we're gonna remove that out of the way so that I can access the two center metal bolts for the header. And then we'll take that off. And these, luckily, since I think it's because I let them soak in the PB blaster, they're all breaking pretty easily. When I do replace the headers on this, though, I will not be reusing these just because all the heat cycles, they're more likely to snap off in there if you reuse them. So small investment to not have a huge headache later on. Last bolt is out, and these headers are free. Okay, so I got several jack stands all over here, and it's on the ramps in the back, just to be safety first. And then right here you'll see the connection to catted downpipe. There are two. Again, I'm using millimeters, so this is 15 millimeter. Soaking in with PB blaster right now. So while I'm waiting for that, I'm probably gonna soak these ones. All right, I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this because the light in the back, but I'm gonna put a jack right here so that thing doesn't just fall when I remove the mid pipe bolts. So I think these are also 15s. If you look, they're already soaking, and everything else is loose up there. So you might have to break this loose with like some just like that. So before you remove these, the cat downpipe, make sure you remove the O2 sensor. I wouldn't recommend trying to remove it from here. Just unclip it, and those are located. It's better to do it from underneath, but you'll see one on this side right there, and then right above the other side will be right behind the block down there with that blue. There's like a blue safety clip that makes it so you can't accidentally get undone. So you gotta remove that first, and then you can pull the clip off. And for the driver's side manifold, it's easier for it to come down through the bottom than it is to the top. That might be because of obviously the booster, and I still have the alternator in, so just drop it from the bottom. Dad's cleaning the plastics. Alright, I'm gonna take those sensors off. I'm gonna soak them in the PB blaster so we can keep those for now. Looks nice. All right, so this is the part I'm super curious about, the oil. So we're gonna drain this now, and we'll put a magnet in the oil, see what kind of stuff we get out of there. Maybe we'll see some chunks of stuff, I don't know. Well, it looks like they've changed the oil. They've definitely tried to change it, or maybe it was a recent oil change when they, because it's still somewhat clear. Out. And I did get a new thermostat, even though the other one on here didn't look too bad, but the only really way to tell is obviously if it functions properly, which for a part that cheap, might as well just go new since it's already out. So this one does not require silicone. It does have a rubber gasket. All right, so now that the thermostat is in, now we're gonna move on to the rocker covers, and I'm gonna replace the seals on both sides. It does also come with the seals for each bolt too. So again, preventative maintenance, these look fine. This is a 25,000 mile motor, so they should be good still, but like I said, since it's out, best time to do it, easiest time to do it. So if you look, she's definitely clean, so there's not a whole lot of, you know, gunk buildup. Or I mean, if you look at the actual rocker arms and even the internal housing is super clean. Definitely a newer motor. It's a good sign. Alright, first thing I want to do, I'm just gonna clean up the mounting surface, making sure not to get anything inside here. Alright, so took a little Scotch-Brite to each of these, clean them up. Again, the old ones weren't bad. You know, obviously still would work, but like I said, just want to get some new stuff in. These are the bolts, and I do have some motor oil that I'm going to use to lubricate the new ones right here, and I'll slip them on and then we'll put it back in here. Alright, and now that these are all in, you'll actually can visual check and see that each of these grommets are seated correctly. It's not like hanging off. And then also the gasket, just make sure they are specific to each side, because the way that these three divots come in, you'll see your gasket is obviously one's for one side, so they are not interchangeable. And then grab some oil again. I'm just going to line this all up before putting it on. Alright, so now that those are done, torque down to 9 foot-pounds on each of these bolts. I'm going to remove this, which is a coolant line. One of my buddies gave me a couple of spare parts, so I got a replacement for that. So I'll put that on, and then we'll move on to the front and rear main seal afterwards. Alright, got the old front main seal out, and the new one in case you need the part number. But yeah, so that's on nice and flush. And now doing the rear. Alright, so moving on along, I got some Denso Iridium spark plugs. I was gonna go the GM route, which, you know, just the factory should have been fine, but good reviews on the Denso, and I wanted to, I think the factory ones from GM are, I don't know if they're platinum or iridium also on the LS2, but from what I heard, the iridium ones do very well in these motors. So, and got some actual reviews from like some of the Corvette forums. The Denso ones are a little bit cheaper, and they actually, longevity wise and performance, they work great. So I'm gonna take these out and we'll see how they look, because I actually haven't taken out the spark plugs on these yet, so we'll see. Not bad. Not bad at all. And now I don't know how long ago these were replaced, but each one of these are looking very clean, not a bunch of carbon buildup. You know, not getting super hot, so good signs. Now that I have all the spark plugs out, and like I said, they actually look like they're all in really good condition. Just normal combustion going on, which is awesome. But since those are all out, I haven't been able to actually turn this motor over manually, so now is a perfect time to try. Everything sounds good. Turning over nice and smooth. No weird sounds. Everything looks pretty promising, so couldn't be happier with this motor so far. But the true test is when we put it in and actually start it. So far so good. Alright, so getting back to prepping the motor for extraction. We got the starter here. So I'm just gonna undo, looks like a knock sensor up here. And then maybe an oil pressure sensor right here. I already loosened them up to unplug. Also, obviously to remove the starter, you'll have these two bolts. I will be removing the AC bracket here, so that way the AC lines can stay in. And yeah, so I'm gonna get these starter off, and then I'll work on the torque tube bolts. There's only 4 of those. One's all the way to the top, so we'll see how hard that is. Alright, so this is on the driver's side, opposite of the starter. You'll just need to unbolt the harness from the block right here. And then there's a ground up here. And in the back, you'll have your O2 sensor. You can remove this bolt, but there's a way to remove the bracket instead, so that way the harness is free. So if you look, that's free now. And then there should be one sensor, the knock sensor here. So this whole side should be free. There probably is going to be something in the front here, but I can't really access that until we start lifting the motor and see it. So, and then it's just the 4 torque tube bolts. So one here, one right on the opposite side of this, and then you should be able to access the top one from the driver's side.